Shakur Stevenson cooking right now, man.
It's work time.
But you're in my way, so I gotta move you out my way. That's how I look at it. He's gonna be mentally frustrated, and when he gets mentally frustrated, that is where I'm going to attack.
And when it came to the talks of me and Haney fighting in August, I didn't go for it because he had no motion. The Shakur, it's all there. But I don't.
You're in my way, bro.
I don't carry it that way.
But you're in my way.
The mentality is never going to be that way.
But you're in my way. But you're in my way. So
No.
I gotta move you out my way. That's how I look at this.
Nope.
Ain't nobody taking food off my table. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I'll tell you this though, you bit more than you could chew.
It's cool. You can feel that way.
For sure.
But come fight night, you're gonna realize this is a lot different than being on the outside than being inside of there.
Oh,
How?
because now you facing me.
Oh shit, I'm so scared. I'm frightened. I'm scared for my life.
The countdown is on for the massive fight between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. In episode 1, experts and the fighters themselves break down the styles, the mind games, and who they think will win. As fight fans eagerly await the next major matchup, legendary trainer Teddy Atlas shared his initial thoughts on a potential showdown between Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Breaking down the styles, Atlas highlighted the rare athleticism and talent both fighters possess, creating what he sees as a compelling clash. He noted that while Lopez might hold an edge in explosive power, Stevenson's own athletic gifts make the dynamic fascinating. Atlas stopped short of giving a final prediction, stating he needed to do more film study, but he made it clear that the matchup between two such elite, physically gifted boxers had a lot to like.
You know one thing that I love about this fight, Bud? Shakur's very athletic, very talented. So is Teofimo. He's more explosive with power, but Teofimo is very athletic. He is very talented. You got two athletic guys, two talented guys. Again, Teofimo I would favor with the power. This is going to be interesting. I'll give you my breakdown. I'll give you my pick when it gets closer and I do all my film work. But I'll tell you, it's a lot to like about these two athletic, talented fighters.
Following Teddy Atlas's analysis, trainer Bozy Ennis predicted a tough technical fight where Shakur Stevenson would slowly break Teofimo Lopez down. However, he warned it would not be easy, stressing that Lopez's own power and skill would make it a serious challenge for Stevenson.
I think it's going to be a technical fight from the beginning. And then I think later on, Shakur going to pick him apart, man. He's going to pick him apart. And I gotta tell everybody this, that Whichcomb is real athletic too. Teofimo. So I mean, I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight. You know what I mean? People think, a lot of people say it's gonna be easy and all that. Nah. Teofimo can punch and he can box. And like I said, he's real athletic. So, you know what I mean? That'll make it a little difficult right there, you know what I mean?
Furthermore, Ennis pointed to Stevenson's proven skill at boxing bigger, stronger opponents. However, Ennis predicted the fight would go the full distance, ending in a clear decision win for Shakur Stevenson. He added a key warning. If Teofimo Lopez fought recklessly and ran into clean shots, an early and surprising stoppage was also possible.
How you see that fight ending?
Well, they saying, they've got the weight and all that. I see Shakur boxing big guys, light heavyweights and all that stuff. Just like moves, he box heavyweights and put the heavyweights down. You know what I mean? I think that's the right move for him. You know what I mean? Get up, and I think he can really do good at that weight.
This isn't a stoppage.
I'm looking at a decision, not a stoppage. But then it all according how Teal come in. If Teal come at him, he's gonna run into some shots. It might be over. You know what I mean?
On the fight's key dynamic, former champion Andre Dirrell stressed that the entire bout will hinge on Shakur Stevenson finding his rhythm. He explained that once a fighter of Stevenson's caliber locks into that flawless flow state, he would become untouchable and begin to dismantle his opponent piece by piece. Dirrell stated that if anyone in this matchup can reach that dominant Mayweather-esque level of control, it is Stevenson, and that precise execution is exactly what he will be waiting to see.
Once a fighter catches his groove, once a boxer catches his groove, it's gonna be hard to time him, to catch his timing, to get away from shots. Right? When a boxer hits a flow state, he starts to destroy. For instance, Floyd Mayweather or Toro Gotti. So whether Toro pressed the action, Floyd was lighting him up. Whether Floyd pressed the action, Floyd was lighting him up. You know, it didn't matter in that term. So if anybody has the opportunity to do that, it's Shakur, right? We want to get to that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to see from Shakur, man. I want to see him be able to execute moving forward, right? And the rest will take care of itself.
Shakur explains that the backlash stems from people pointing out that he previously had issues with rehydration clauses. He clarified that his stance is different now because he's moving up significantly in weight from his natural weight of 126 pounds. He felt it's justified to request a rehydration clause when fighting opponents much larger than him, like Conor Benn at 147, to ensure a fair fight, similar to the rehydration clause Benn used against Eubank. And he stated he would apply the same logic and request against another larger opponent, Devin Haney.
Yeah, I was peeping it. I seen how people was mad over the rehydration clause in order for you to fight Devin Haney. When you made that comment, yeah, a lot of people was mad over that.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. They sit there and tell you like, oh, so other fighters had a rehydration clause and you had a problem with it. At that point in time, yeah, because at the end of the day, you fighting at a weight class that you fight at. If I'm at 135 or 140 and I put a rehydration clause on somebody, when it's like, bro, I'm fighting at this weight already, that don't make sense. But I'm a 126 pounder. That's where I started at. Going up all the way to 147. So if I say I'm gonna fight Conor Benn at 147, but I want the same rehydration clause that he put on Eubank, what's the problem with that? Then they gonna say, oh, well, if you fight Conor Benn, you'll fight Devin Haney. So I'm like, shit, I will fight Devin Haney.
Following the upcoming matchup, Showbiz, a boxing insider, witnessed both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez up close. He initially went into the matchup favoring Stevenson as the likely winner. However, after seeing the intense focus and physical presence of both fighters, his certainty completely unraveled. He concluded that he had no idea who would win, underscoring the fight's legitimate 50-50 nature.
After being there and being behind the scenes and witnessing all this shit, I don't know who's going to win the fight. And that's the Black Two Sugars. I went from being very certain that Shakur Stevenson wins to thinking about it and saying, oh, this fight is very close, to now being behind the scenes with both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, being there at the press conference and saying, I have no idea who wins.
With the uncertainty around the fight's outcome hanging in the air, Teofimo Lopez himself explained why the matchup against Shakur Stevenson was destined to happen. Lopez framed it as a matter of fate and timing, stating that after Stevenson's big talk since his last fight, there were no other viable targets at 135 pounds, leading him to aim for the top dog at 140, which was Lopez. He emphasized his own philosophy of always being willing to fight the best and saw this as his opportunity to do his part. Lopez acknowledged the high praise for Stevenson's skills, but positioned himself as the underdog, ready to shock the world and deliver an upset.
I think it's just fate, you know? It just lined up. I think that, you know, he's been talking a big game since the Williams-Zepeda fight that happened over here at the Armstrong Stadium. So I think that there's nobody else at 135 that he's trying to aim for, so he wants to come for the top dog, and that's me at 140. So it just lines up, you know, and I'm always willing to fight the best, and I felt like why not? You know, people talk highly of Shakur, as they should, and I'm just here to do my part. And
furthermore, Lopez asserted that the ultimate key to victory in boxing is penetrating an opponent's mind, suggesting that Stevenson's could be his weak point. He framed the sport as a mental battle first, stating that without a strong mind, a fighter can accomplish nothing. In Lopez's view, this psychological dimension makes boxing the toughest sport, and he positioned their upcoming fight as a direct test of Stevenson's mental strength.
That's pretty elite. Come on, Teofimo. It's pretty elite.
No. Well, that's what I say. Like,
what is his weakness, though, if there's one?
his mind. Once you penetrate the mind, that's it. It's game. This is boxing. This has always been since forever. And if your mind ain't strong in this, it's never gonna accomplish anything in life. And that's why boxing to this day is the toughest sport in the world. You can't take away from that. And it starts with the mind.
In response to the intense pre-fight narrative, Shakur Stevenson clarified that his motivation to secure the bout was rooted in respect and competitive drive. He stated that after watching Teofimo Lopez's sharp and impressive last performance, it personally ignited his desire for the challenge. Stevenson revealed he was the one who actively got up, reached out to the necessary parties, and pushed to make the high-stakes fight happen, framing it as his direct answer to a top-tier performance.
Honestly, I seen Teo his last fight. I thought he looked real good his last fight. He was on point, and once I seen how on point he was, it made me kind of get up for the challenge. And I told everybody, let's make this fight happen. I reached out to the people that I was supposed to reach out to, and I made this fight happen.
Moreover, Stevenson emphasized his strategic versatility, clarifying that you cannot fight every opponent the same way. He noted that De Los Santos was a specific volume puncher that required a unique plan, and facing Teofimo Lopez would demand a completely different tactical approach for that night. He concluded by asserting his deep arsenal of skills, expressing full confidence in his ability to adjust and execute whatever was necessary to secure victory.
You fought a little different with what's his name, Cepeda. Do you think you're gonna fight that same way, or it's gonna be a little different? I see it a little different, but
you fight everybody different, bro. You can't fight guys the same way. Cepeda was a volume puncher, and I had to fight him a certain way to win that fight. And when I fight Teo, I'm gonna have to fight different that night. I could do it all, bro. I got so much things in my arsenal to where I could do everything that I need to do to come out victorious.
In a bold psychological strike, Teofimo Lopez shifted from praising Shakur Stevenson's technical skill to attacking his perceived mental weakness, a fear of being hit. Lopez claimed that, in general, Stevenson is scared to get knocked out or even touched up in front of the world. He referenced past sparring sessions, suggesting that once you get past Stevenson's sharp jab, he becomes vulnerable. Lopez crowned himself the best, dismissed any contract for a fight as non-existent, and declared himself too much of a high-risk gamble for Stevenson's investors to allow the fight to happen, positioning himself as an unconquerable force.
Shakur is a very talented, skillful, technique fighter. Can't take anything away from him. However, scared to get hit. Scared to get knocked out in front of the world, scared to get touched up in front of the world.
Are you saying that all for the last fight, or just
in general? In general. Me and Shakur sparred before. We did 3 rounds, and it was just light work and me trying to figure out his jab. Does he have a good jab? Yeah, he does. But once you pass his jab, it's game. It's food, it's lunch food. I am the best. I don't see no contract that says Shakur's name on there. So until then, I'm gonna say and talk my stuff. And if you want to come that way, then come that way. I mean, you have investors that are with you, and that's great, but they understand that they cannot have you come this way. Because I am too much of a gamble for anyone.
Teofimo Lopez laid out his strategy for victory, based on pressure and proven power. His philosophy is to dominate the fight from the opening bell, not to search for a knockout. Lopez predicted that Shakur Stevenson, fighting at 140 pounds for the first time, would not be able to withstand that pace for a full 12 rounds. He defended the legitimate force of his punches, noting they make opponents hesitant and change their approach. Lopez concluded that this combination of relentless pressure and respected power would deliver a definitive and rude awakening to Stevenson on fight night.
Are you training for a knockout? Are you training to do something to not just beat Shakur, but to beat him in grand fashion? When I say grand fashion, I mean going for the knockout.
Well, I think that the whole thing is the Bible of boxing really is that if you look for the knockout, you won't get it. I think really it's just all about setting the good pace early in the beginning rounds and then going from there, setting that tone. I think that I don't see him going those 12 rounds. This is his first time moving up to 140. A lot of these guys can say a lot of things about me not knocking them out or whatnot, but they don't come and try to fight me after they feel this power. So it's for a reason. It carries. It does carry. I mean, I had a good showing with Arnold Barboza. He was #1, my mandatory, and he was too hesitant trying to commit to punches.
Analyzing the tactical declarations, Insider Showbiz urged fans to look deeper into the contrasting styles of Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson, noting Teofimo Lopez struggled with the style of Henor Barbosa, a tougher challenge than Edwin de los Santos, whom Shakur Stevenson dominated. He found intrigue in Lopez's plan to utilize patience and a high boxing IQ, suggesting it could provide him a genuine path to victory. However, weighing the elite wins and contrasting styles, Showbiz ultimately underscored that the high-stakes chess match favored Shakur Stevenson.
I want y'all to look at the styles of Teo and Shakur. Honor Barbosa is a harder out than Spinetta is. Who looked slicker? It's a lot to think about because he said that he's going to approach Shakur the way he did Barbosa. If Teo is Gordo and not just coming in trying to hammer damage, if he's Gordo, you got something going. There's going to be a lot of IQ up in there. Yo, I mean, which one of the two beat Loma? Which one of the two beat Josh Taylor? It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot going.
Adding a seasoned trainer's perspective, Coach Bredman Edwards praised the matchup as a clash of two elite fighters. While he suspected Stevenson might be a slight favorite, he viewed the fight as fundamentally even. He highlighted Lopez's proven history of rising to the occasion against elite southpaws, labeling him a clutch performer. However, he pointed out Lopez's historical difficulty with pure boxers, suggesting Lopez's strategy would be to draw Stevenson into a firefight rather than try to outbox him.
That's a great fight. Shakur is the truth and Teofimo is the truth. I would suspect that Shakur might be a slight favorite, but man, that's pretty much an even fight in my opinion. You know, Teofimo's biggest moments have come against southpaws, Loma and Josh Taylor, and he's a guy that fights really, really well in these circumstances. You know, he has a little bit of a clutch thing about him where he will fight up to the guy that he's in front of. He doesn't handle boxers too well, but I can see Teofimo trying to make Shakur come to him.
0-14-0-59. Elaborating on his prediction, Coach Bredman foresaw a tense, high-stakes chess match rather than a brawl. He pinpointed the key battle as being over who could successfully force the other to lead and become the aggressor. Bredman stated he did not expect a classic action-packed war or a knockout. Instead, he anticipated a fight of high drama where every single landed punch and defensive move would carry immense weight, with the scorecards feeling razor-thin round by round. In his view, it would be a tactical duel where every touch mattered and both corners would be meticulously counting every action.
Yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. It's going to be a thing of who can make the other one lead. And I don't expect a great action-packed fight, but I expect a high drama fight in terms of every point meaning something. I don't expect a knockout. I don't expect like a fight where we're looking at black eyes and people are getting hurt. I'm expecting a fight where every touch means something. Every single point, like the fight is on the line. Everybody's counting everything that the other one's doing.
In his final pre-fight assessment, Teofimo Lopez launched a direct attack on Shakur Stevenson's physical attributes, bluntly stating he views him as a slow fighter at lightweight. Lopez suggested that Stevenson's ambition is being fueled by his association with elite champions like Terence Crawford, pushing him to seek this higher level of competition. While he commended Stevenson for finally stepping up to face top opposition.
Shakur is slow. He's slow. I seen him at lightweight. I seen only highlights of his last fight with Cepeda, and he's slow. He's really slow. There's nothing more to it than that. So I think that with everybody that he's seeing and from his group and from those that have been, killing the game, honestly, like Terence Crawford, which he calls and refers to as Big Bro. I think that the whole thing of that nature, I think that's really what's keeping him wanting to aim for bigger and better fights and for better opposition. I have yet to see, and I think you could attest with me, I don't think we have seen Shakur face anyone higher than who he's going to face next. And that's of me. So, I definitely, commend him at least for stepping up to the plate
But I think it's time. I think it's really that time for him to really take his first loss. And, you know.
Lopez was unequivocal in his conclusion. He believes Stevenson has never faced anyone on his level, and that this fight is the moment for Stevenson to take his first professional loss. As episode 1 shows, there is no clear consensus heading into Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez. Trainers, fighters, and analysts all see different paths to victory, highlighting just how thin the margin is at this level. Power, precision, rhythm, and discipline will all matter, but timing and execution may decide everything. For now, the fight remains a true 50-50, with more questions than answers. And as the countdown continues, each new insight only adds to the tension surrounding what could become a defining moment for both fighters. If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below with your prediction as this story continues to unfold.